Welcome to the second tutorial of Explain 11, in which I will be taking you through the takeoff procedures, and then we will fly the plane on autopilot. So we will be going through all the procedures, very simple, easy procedures for all those people who are actually new to flight simulation, or for those who are interested in learning on how to fly a plane. So this is going to be very basic level information in this tutorial. If you're a professional, this video might not be for you. You might want to look for some other tutorials on YouTube. For those people who are actually new to flight simulators, this is going to be a really easy thing for you, because when I started to learn these flight simulators, it was very difficult for me, and it took me a lot of time to learn how to take off the plane and fly it on autopilot and then land on ILS. Now, so I'm trying to make these tutorials really easy for you so that you can do it easily and quickly without so much effort. Okay, so before beginning this tutorial, I would also like to mention this thing that this tutorial also has a first part, which basically takes you through the flight plan and the entering the flight plan into the FMS. So we have already made a flight plan. We are going to fly from Karachi, and we are going to land in Dubai. And this is the flight plan, OPKC, that is the Jinnah International Airport, Karachi, and this is OMDB, which is the Dubai International Airport. So these are the airports. The departure will be from 25R, that's the runway in Karachi, and we will be landing at 30L, that's in Dubai. So this is the flight plan that we have entered earlier. So it's better to go through this flight plan tutorial first if you are looking at this tutorial for the first time and you don't know how to make a flight plan and enter into FMS. Okay, just to begin with, we have to turn these switches on. This is auto throttle, and these two buttons are for flight director. So as soon as you turn the flight director on, you'll see this pink crossbar over here. Yes, and this is the auto throttle. So once you have done this, you have to turn on this LNAV, that's longitudinal navigation, which enables autopilot to follow the path. And the path is basically drawn over here on the screen. You can see this thing as soon as you enter your flight plan into the FMS, this path is drawn, and your autopilot is now going to basically follow this path. So this will be only possible if this LNAV is on. Now we're going to make some entries. We're going to set the course. The course will be for the landing runway, though this information is required at landing, but we will be entering them right now so that we don't forget while landing. Okay. So this is the course. We have to check the course of the runway as we are landing on 30L, 30L. So that's why we're going to check the heading, and the heading for this runway is 299. This is the chart that we have downloaded earlier, and I'm referring to this chart for the heading. It's 299. So we are going to enter it over here in this course box. Yeah, it's 299. So let's enter. Long press will move quickly, but you have to be careful. 299, we'll set it over here. Okay, so now the course is set. Um, let's look at the speed on which we will be taking off. Let's go and check the legs. So generally it's 240 knots, so we are going to set the speed at 240. Here you go. So this is set. Heading is for the Karachi runway from where we're taking off. So let's check the Karachi runway, and the heading for 25R, this is R, and this is, we'll check the left. Yeah, we are taking off from 25R. Yeah, so this is the 25R. The heading is 254, so 254. Sorry, this is the speed. 254. Okay. At the back of this knob, you'll see another knob that's for the bank, basically the degree of your turn. So if you keep your bank uh, over here, the bank will be really sharp, and if you keep it here, the bank will not be sharp. So I accidentally turned it over here to this position, but we're going to take it back. Yeah, now the bank is like in the middle, not too sharp, not too steep. Okay, so we're going to zoom out a bit, just a view so that we can see the runway clearly. So this is the initial adjustment that we're going to do. Now we're going to uh, extend the flaps. I'm going to extend the flaps till over here. Yeah, 15. So let's extend the flaps. It totally depends upon the payload that you are carrying and the amount of fuel you have. So I'm carrying a good amount of fuel with me, and the payload is also halfway. So it's better to keep the flaps at 15 because it is going to give you an initial lift, a good lift. If your flaps are not extended, it will be very difficult to take your plane up in the air. It will not actually take off from the runway. So your flaps should be really open. I generally open them at 10 or 15, but depends on the load. Okay, you can also search for the payloads, the flap extension settings on the internet, that with how much payload, what will be the extension of the flaps. But I generally use 10 and 15. It's easy. No need to get into so much hassle. So this is all set, and let's check controls are working. My stick has got a little bit of play in it. It basically moves towards left, so never mind if I'm finding it difficult to keep it on the runway. The gears, obviously, the gears are down because we're on the ground. So at the moment we um, set to basically take off, and let's zoom this thing a little bit. This button actually, this knob actually helps you zoom in and zoom out on this screen to look at the path. So I'm going to zoom in a bit to see where we'll be heading after the takeoff. So we'll take off from here, and then the moment we'll take off, we'll take a left turn, and this is the path that I'm going to take. So everything is set, flaps are down, course is set, speed is set. Yeah, one last thing, we have to set the altitude. So we have to check the altitude. So it's we'll climb from 1000, and we'll climb up to 17,000 till this waypoint, MELOM, and then afterwards we haven't set the cruise altitude. So the cruise altitude that I'm going to set for this flight will be 35,000 feet. But for this right now, just forget about it. We are going to do it manually. But right now, let's set it to 17,000, and then after this waypoint, we'll climb up to 35,000. So let's set the altitude to 17,000. Okay. With this, you'll see the vertical speed uh, knob. This is basically the pitch of the plane. Not exactly the pitch, but definitely the speed at which it will be climbing vertically. So if you're keeping it at, let's say, at 100, the vertical climb will be very less, but at the moment you keep on increasing it, the vertical climb will be very steep. So you have to basically adjust your vertical speed while going up, so that you are maintaining your speed. If you are going up too steep, you might lose on your speed. So you have to basically make this balance. Once I'll take off and I'll make the adjustments, you'll come to know how I'm doing that. And let's see how far this MELOM is. MELOM, it's roughly 33 nautical miles, and then 12 nautical miles, and then 15. So it's 15 and 33. It's roughly less than 50 nautical miles. So we'll keep the vertical speed at 1800. That's the normal vertical speed I keep, 1800 to 2000. So we'll just keep it at 1800 or 2000 maybe. Okay, so it's time to take off now. Just release the brakes. Okay, so brakes are released and we are going to now throttle up the things. Amazing. Oops, the brakes were not off. Yeah. See, it's difficult for me to keep it on the runway because of the stick that I'm using. It's got a little bit of play on it. Okay. Once we reach 140 knots, we are going to take off. Yes, it's 140 and take off. So now we have started to climb. Gear up. The moment I basically take off, I turn the autopilot on, so it's time to turn on the autopilot on for the speed, and we click this button and the autopilot is on. And vertical speed we'll set it to, as I told you before, we're going to set it for to 1800. Okay, so this is all set. Now your autopilot is going to maintain the speed at 240. Um, yes, your speed will be 240. Your altitude will be 17,000, so your plane is going to level off at 17,000 feet, and it is going to climb at 1800. This is your vertical speed, 1800. And see, now your autopilot is basically following this path, and it will keep on following this path. And it's time to retract the flaps. You see the flaps going back. And that's it. It was so easy. So now you have made your autopilot settings. Your plane is flying. It's climbing up at a good speed. It's you can see this thing that the speed is increasing. So in case if your speed is not increasing, you have to adjust your vertical speed, because it means then you're climbing too steep. That's why your plane is not getting up to the right speed levels. But right now, the vertical speed is pretty reasonable, and the speed is climbing. So once your plane will reach 240, this will basically the throttle will slightly go down, and you can see your autopilot following the path. So this is the path your autopilot is. See, now the throttles are reduced because we have reached the speed. Now your plane will keep on climbing to this altitude of 17,000, 1800. Then after this waypoint, MELOM, when we'll reach this waypoint, then we are going to set the altitude to 35,000. After 10,000 feet, I'll also increase the speed. That's how I do it. That's how I've learned. Maybe there are some other professional approaches towards flying a plane, but I don't want to get into so much nitty-gritty. I just do this flying just for the sake of fun, just to pass some good time and fly some good plane, and land and take off from some good airports. So that's why I just fly it the way I want. So let's change the view and see what's happening. Oh, it's nice. So this is another view that you can see. It's try cycling, and here you can see the land. The plane right now is flying on the sea. It's actually amazing. It's the feeling is really good. So now let's go inside the cockpit and see what's happening. Yeah, wonderful. Let's zoom out a little bit to see now. Afterwards, after this waypoint, we're going to turn left. Okay, so we are going to climb to 17,000. In the next 29 nautical miles, we have to be at 17,000. Let's increase the vertical speed a bit. So it was easy. Initially, when you will try to take off a plane and fly it on autopilot, you might find it difficult. But afterwards, it will get easy. You have to practice it a lot. I've practiced it a lot, and this is what I've learned. And now I can easily take off plane for any runway and land it at any runway. Make a good flight plan. Still, I find it difficult. There are different forums where you can go and ask for help. You can also put up a question in the comment section below, and I can also respond to you. And I'll might if I don't, then I might try to search for a right answer for you, so that your X-plane experience is great and you can just do some great flying. Okay, so now we are at 11,000. Let's increase the speed. I'll take it to 320 right now, nautical miles. I don't know, maybe it's the right thing to do or not, but let's power up. Wonderful. Nice view. The graphics on X-Plane 11 are really good. You really enjoy watching the flight. Let's have a look from outside. I've actually got a chance to fly in 737-800 traveling via Oman Air, and it's a nice plane. Looks nice. These are the controls. Wow. So that's it for now. Now you know how to basically take off your plane and fly it on autopilot. Now this plane will keep on flying on autopilot till the time we turn off the autopilot or we reach the runway. Now I'm going to do another tutorial for you. That's basically the third tutorial, and that will be related to the approach and landing using the ILS. So I'm increasing the altitude right now to 35,000. So we'll keep on climbing. So see you in the next tutorial. Be there and try it on your own, and you will be able to fly a plane on your own really quickly if you just follow the instructions that are given in this tutorial. Happy flying.